Hello everybody, welcome. I'm Zoe Ellis, welcome. So basically, in this one for reading, I'm going to tell you all that there's going to be a very two different elements. All right. Now these two different elements would be one is an earth sign, one is a water sign. So keep in mind, okay? A Virgo is an earth sign, right? That's how it goes, right? And Scorpio is a water sign. Okay. Now these two, as in two different elements, they don't get along. Yes, they do, yes, they don't. But in theory, based on what I'm going to tell you all, is that it's going to be very interesting indeed. So, this is how it's going to be. I know that you might say, oh, this is going to be very interesting. Yes, it is. But in this note, you have to believe in order to do that, right? So, I'm going to get the oracle cards. I'm going to tell you about that. But the way how this is, in this category of how it's going to be in this way, you have to know about the way of how it goes, right? So you have to be authentic, right? But the way how this is, if you get along between a Virgo and a Scorpio, you have to keep in mind, right? There are two different elements and two different, that's how it goes, right? Right? If you live with an earth sign, right, as a Virgo, that's how it goes, right? If you live with a Scorpio as a water sign, that's how it goes, right? But the way all this is, two different elements don't make, work ethic. Like they don't go together, right? But the way all this is, we're going to do two oracle cards. We're going to figure out who's who in this whole entire situation. We're going to clarify everything, and then at the end of this reading, I'm going to be doing the Enchanted Mapp. I'll read one of those cards out, and if it's upright, sure. If it's reversed, that's fine too. But this is how it goes. So the first one for the Earth sign is for Virgo is blame. I accept responsibility for my well-being. That's the way how it goes. So the Virgo as a woman, and if she blames a Scorpio man, she'll put the blame on it, right? That's how it goes. And when everything is not going her way, she's going to accept it. She's going to think that, oh, I'm not going to be the bully here. I'm not going to do anything. I'm trying to help you. But the way all this is, an earth sign like a Virgo, she can get along whenever she wants to, but she doesn't. So if she puts the blame on herself, she doesn't want to put the blame on Scorpio. That's how it goes, right? So that's the blame. Okay? So Virgo will be on the left side. On the right side is freedom. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. That's how it goes. And Scorpio has to have freedom, right? Freedom is about, taken away from negativity, and that's how it goes in that theory, and that's how it seems to be in that way, because that's how it goes, right? So you have to understand the way how you can accept that as it is in that way. You have to know how it is, right? That's the way it is. So you have to go with the flow and understand what it is in that way. It's like, okay, everything's gonna be fine, but Scorpio needs to have the way of having, its own expertise, of having its own freedom. That's how it goes, right? So that's how it seems to be. So Scorpio will be on the right side. We don't know who's in the middle, not yet, but we're going to clarify, right? Because I love that word, clarify. So we're going to figure out, we already know about the earth sign for the blame, so we're going to do one card for the blame, for the King of Pentacles that you're going to see, and the Nine of Swords here is for Scorpio. So the way how this is, in my own estimation, this is the way it kind of is. This is like how a play-by-play situation, right? Do you know what a play-by-play is? This is how it goes. But this is the way how it goes in that way. This is the way it seems to be. So here we go. So in this own method, we have the base on how it goes. Now the King of Pentacles does represent Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. Obviously that is. But it does represent like insecurity or security or prosperity about money, wealth. That's how it goes, right? That's how it seems to be, right? Now that's a Virgo on the left side. Scorpio is on the right side. Remember this. Scorpio has the freedom card of an oracle card. The Nine of Swords reverse. There's no trauma, in that way, and that's good for Scorpio. But the way all this is, even if Scorpio likes it or not, it has to be having its own way. playing by the rules, right? And that's how it goes. So let's see. Let me clarify for Virgo, then I'll clarify Scorpio. So the Strength card is separated for bravery. 5 of Swords is separated. There's conflict, right? So Virgo is having conflict, even if she has bravery because she needs it. But the way how this is, she tries to have her own insecurity. Maybe she's having insecurity. I don't know. But the way how this is, you have the process of how you're feeling. Each day, no matter what you are, whether you're having a bad day, a good day, whatever. But none of the results of how you're feeling, Virgo, you get to the point, right? So if you use the word blame, you're blaming about how you're feeling, blame how you're acting, blame how you're going to have your own similarities. That's how it goes. But when you have conflict, you're not getting along. You want to have fights. You want to do that. And you know what, Virgo, you need to get to the point, right? It's not always about you. It's not always about Scorpio, but it's always about your emotions. How it's going to affect you. That's how it goes, Virgo. You get to the point, right? Now, on the right side for Scorpio, let's see. Page of Pentacles separates there's prospects. 4 of Wands here, there's no, there's no celebration. 9 Cups separates there's fulfillment. High Priestess here, there's no invoice. King Cups here, there's no support. Wow. Star reverse, there's no inspiration. King Wands reversed, just reversed. So Scorpio is not telling the truth. Judgment reversed, there's no action. World reversed, there's incompletion. Death reversed, there's no endings. Knight Pentacles over, there's trust, right? So if Scorpio has that problem where Scorpio is not telling the truth, but that's how it goes, right? This is what the cards were saying. But the way all this is, we don't know what's going to happen in the middle of this situation. We don't know, right? So we have to believe what's happening in this wonderful situation there is. This is how it kind of goes. So we have to believe in order to do that, right? That's how it goes. Now we have to understand that, right? So we have to have our own physical reality to understand what's going to happen. Or Scorpio's having trust, but then Virgo woman's having conflict. Now this is a back and forth situation. It is, right? But get to the reality. Get to the point of how it goes. So let me clarify one card for Virgo. Strength card reverse. Yeah, see, you're being bravery, then you're being scared. Virgo, you get to the point, right? That's how you're feeling, right? So it's like you're putting the blame on yourself. Because you're probably saying, well, it's me, I can't do this anymore, I quit. It's like, well, if you keep doing it, you're going to mess up somehow, right? That's how it goes, right? So this is you on the left side, okay? On the right side is Scorpio, so let me clarify with one card. The Empress is upright, there's nourishment, right? Scorpio needs to be nourished at all times, right? Just like caring for a baby, for example. You need to be nourished the baby, right? That's how it goes, right? Scorpio does act like that, because in theory that's the way how it goes in that way, right? Because nowadays it is that. That's how it goes. So let me clarify. Blame again for Virgo. So I'm going to clarify that. The Sun card reversed, so there's negativity. The Tower separate, there's transformation. Everything's changing. Now, when Virgo has the Sun card reversed, she's having negativity. She hates it. It's like, I hate this. I can't do it anymore. I quit. Don't want to do this. I don't want to take fights. Well, she's acting like she doesn't care. She does care in one way, but she doesn't care. She's saying to herself, like, woe is me. I can't do it anymore. I quit. And that's how it goes, right? So it's like, this is the way how it goes in that way, where you get to the point, right? That's the way it goes, right? Now, what I'm saying about Scorpio right now, Scorpio on the right side has the Empress, right? Now, Scorpio has the Empress card that represents nourishment. So let me clarify that. The world is in completion. The lower side, there's decisions, right? So this world card reversed, let's see. Justice is right there. Yeah, Scorpio's telling the truth, right? That's what it seems to be. So Scorpio's telling the truth. He's telling the truth, right? He was thinking about making up lies, whatever he was doing, but he wants to be nourished. He wants to know what's going to be happening. He has the Lovers represents decisions. He's making decisions because he needs to have the way how it goes. He's not trying to criticize. He's not trying to put the blame on others. Like, he doesn't want to do that. He wants freedom. He wants to have freedom because, that's how it goes, right? So that's what it seems to be in that way. Now, let me clarify the Justice and the Lovers card for Scorpio. The Hierophant reverse, there's no guidance. Tower is every there's transformation. The Temperance is every there's healing. Exactly. If Scorpio doesn't have guidance, he has transformation because everything's changing. The Temperance is every he's healing because he doesn't want to be having negativity all through his whole entire life. He doesn't want that, right? Now, a Virgo woman has the responsibility to have negativity. So let me clarify the Sun card and the Tower. Tarot years, there's no progress. Justice every you're telling the truth. The Strength card is separate. There's bravery. Exactly. So it's like the Virgo is acting like having bravery, being scared, going back to bravery, being back to scared. That's how it goes. And it's like this is a way of how continuous it is, right? Continuing. That's how it goes. And when you do it, it's like, oh, okay, this seems to be happening. Alright, this is how it goes. Yes, in that theory. Because that's how it is, right? So you're trying to understand what it takes. What's between this Tower and this Temperance card for Scorpio? The Empress is alright, there's Nourishment, right? So back in that time of Scorpio, having the way of how he's feeling as the masculine man right now, he's basically having nourishment because he wants to be nourished, right? Virgo woman starts saying, well, I want to be scared. I don't want to be I want bravery. I want to do this. Yes. But if you're acting like to have blame, and you want to take, Scorpio's freedom away, it kind of sucks, And you're trying to figure out saying, oh, well, I can't do this anymore. But in theory, you need to do that. That's how it goes. So let me clarify the Justice and the Strength card for Virgo. Aha, yeah. See, Virgo has the Devil card now. The Devil card does represent Capricorn for sure, but she's acting like now she's all being mean and rude and disrespectful because what she's doing is wrong. And that's how sympathy of how bad the sympathy is going between left and right at the same time, right? We don't know who's in the middle yet, but I will clarify that eventually. But the way all this is, between this back and forth situation, that's how it goes. It's like you don't know what to do, but that's how it seems to be. It's like, okay, I know what to do, alright, but this is how it goes. You need to understand that. And there's a good saying, seeing is believing. Believing is seeing, that's all you can do. But then you have to understand that, right? That's how it is. So you have to believe that when everything's fine, that's how it goes. So, let me clarify this Empress card for Scorpio. Tower is upright, there's transformation. Wheel of Fortune is upright, it's going to have good luck. So Scorpio is going to have good luck, right? And he's having transformation, everything's changing, right? So he understands that. Because he wants to let go. Maybe he wants to have freedom because he can't take all the negativity from a Virgo woman. A Virgo woman is trying to, not try to take things away from Scorpio as the man, but she keeps doing it anyway. That's how it goes. So it's like, why you keep doing it? Why? That's how it goes, right? What's this Devil card for Virgo? The Devil reverse, there's no violence, but the Hangman reverse, there's no restrictions. The Sun card is upright, there's positivity. Exactly. So she's back and forth between this positivity and this negativity. That's how it goes. And in theory, it's based on that. It's based on how you're feeling one way or another, and you're trying to, get a hold of yourself, no matter how you're feeling in that way, and this is what triggers, because this is what it seems to be for Scorpio, because now Scorpio's having the Wheel of Fortune and the Tower. So the Moon is upright, there's meditation, Star is upright, there's inspiration, Empress reverse, there's no nourishment, the High Priestess reverse, there's no invoice, Hammer reverse, there's no restrictions, and then Magician reverse, there's no skill. Fool reverse, there's no change. I don't know why this started in here. And what's obviously with this Fool card here? The devils are right. Yeah, see, there's between manipulation between the two of them, right? And that's what I said is Virgo and Scorpio do not go together. They don't, right? Because they are trying to be like, oh well, it's not my fault. But it's like, why would a Virgo woman trying to not accuse a Scorpio man? Now this is messed up reading. Obviously it is. But it's funny in one way and funny not, because why would you think about how Scorpio's feeling and accusing a Virgo woman? Right? That's kind of stupid, isn't it? Yes. What stupid is, what stupid does, right? But you know what I mean, right? This is what the reading is. This is the way of how it is, because you're trying to get along. And when you get along, you do, right? That's why it seems to be that, right? So you need to have this play-by-play situation, no matter how you're feeling in this way of how it goes, right? So this is what it seems to be. So let's see what's in the middle of this situation. The just leaders. So either both sides are not telling the truth, right? It's basically how insanity, where you're not telling the truth. You're not telling the truth about both sides, right? One's making up lies, one's making up lies. That's how it goes, right? You're trying to not play games against each other, but you're doing it. Just because to, play a little game with against each other, or you're trying to play mind games, whatever it is, but it's your choice, right? That's why this is going to be a very interesting reading, but that's how it goes. So, I'm going to clarify the middle, don't I? Now I'm going to clarify between the middle and the left, middle to the right, which means the middle to Virgo. So the Knight of Cups is upright, there's romance, right? Judgment is upright, there's action. Knight of Swords is upright, there's trauma. And the Ace of Swords is upright, there's anxiety, right? So Virgo woman is feeling sad. Because she says, oh well, this is not my fault. Yes it is. Because now a Virgo woman is trying to take away a Scorpio's freedom. She doesn't want to, but she thinks about that. She thinks about what's going to happen next. That's how it goes, right? This is not fun and games. It's not. But this is the way it goes. It seems to be funny. Yes, okay. But it's not really. That's how it goes. What's between the middle and the right side for Scorpio? The Chariot is upright, there's progress. World is upright, there's completion. Three of Cups is upright, there's celebration. And Magician is upright, there's skill. Obviously that is. A Scorpio man has skill than a Virgo woman. That's how it goes. A Virgo woman is having judgment, taking action, not trying to play the blame card, whatever it is. It's not. But the way this is, it's the way how it seems to be. Right? That's how it goes. So you understand what it is in that way, because that's the way it seems to be. So let me go from the middle to the right, middle to the left. Ten Pentacles is upright, there's the career. King of Cups is upright, there's support. King of Wands is upright, there's passion. World reverse, there's incompletion. Ace of Cups reverse, there's no prosperity of, love. Knight of Pentacles reverse, there's no trust, right? And then the Nine of Wands is upright, there's fear. So the Scorpio man is having fear, because Scorpio man doesn't want to have trust against a Virgo woman. A Virgo woman wants trust, wants to have that way about, okay, this seems to be working, alright, I know what to do, alright, but this is how it goes. You're not trying to cross the line, you're not trying to, avoid each other, but you do. If you're focusing a career, you're focusing on that, that's how it goes. What's between the middle and the left side for Virgo? Eight Pentacles here is there's no perfection. Ace of Wands here is there's no new beginnings. Two Pentacles are right. So she's balancing two things at once. Right? Everything's balanced, and that's how it goes. Right? What's upset between this Ace of Wands and this Eight Pentacles? The Seven of Wands reverse, you're not feeling a resilience, but Seven of Cups are there's a delusion. Exactly. Do you ever get a funny feeling where you're going to have a delusion? Right, where you're going through, walking into a room and you have a deja vu moment. That's how it goes, right? And that's what it seems to be, right? So when you have that, you have the ability to understand what you're doing, because then you understand what's going happening in that way. It's like, oh, okay, this is going to make sense. Yes, it does. But this is like how it is, and you understand that, right? This is the way how it happens nowadays, but you understand that, right? So let me try to figure out what's on the left side. So now the Virgo woman doesn't have the King of Swords reversed. There's no knowledge, right? So the Virgo woman doesn't have any knowledge. Don't know why, but let's see what's going on with that. What's on the right side for Scorpio? The Knight of Swords, sorry, there's drama, right? So whatever it is, between what a Scorpio man is having, a Scorpio man is acting like he's having drama. Like he's acting. He understands what's happening in that way because he wants freedom. He wants to take all about the freedom. He wants things to be happening all at once because that's what he chooses to do, right? A Virgo woman, she wants to take, the blame. She wants to have the blame card. She wants to do that. She wants to use, her actions. This is how it goes. And she's trying to express of how she's feeling. But the way all this is, you're trying to understand that. You're trying to believe what's going to be happening in that way, because everything has to be all good and true. But that's how it goes, right? This is the way it seems to be. So let me clarify this King of Swords for Virgo. 3 wands is already there's communication. Ace of Swords is already there's understanding. Exactly. A Virgo woman is having understanding and wants communication. That's what a Virgo woman wants, right? Now, everything is all peachy, everything's all great for a Virgo woman. Okay, that's great. But the way how this is, everything is not going as your way, Your way or the highway, that's how it goes, right? So you understand what it seems to be, Virgo woman, but you get to the point, right? That's how it goes. Well, Scorpio man is having the Knight of Swords is upright for drama, so I'm going to clarify. 5 cups is reversed for grief. Knight wands reversed, there's no immaturity. 5 swords reversed, there's no conflict. Star reversed, there's no inspiration. But the Fool is upright, there's change, right? So when the Scorpio man is having change, he wants it. He wants to have change. He doesn't want to have this, a bad outcome. Like, he hates it. He wants the things to be happening all at once because he cares about that, right? That's why it seems to be that. So let me go from the middle to the right, middle to the left. 9 Pentacles here. So they're both feeling uncomfortable, right? That's how it goes. If Virgo woman wants to have understanding and communication, that's fine. But if Scorpio is feeling uncomfortable, there's something that's going to be happening in that way. So let me go from the middle to the right side, please. Page short here, so no education, age, short story, there's anxiety, yes, and the 10 of short story, there's conclusions, right? So now Scorpio is having conclusions. The Scorpio man has conclusions, right? That's how it goes. So it's like, oh, well, if I'm having conclusions, I'm doing this, right? That's how it goes, right? But he's having anxiety because he's having what he's having is not so good, right? That's how it goes. So this is the way how it goes in him, in his own perspective. Like, that's how it goes, right? That's why it seems to be in that way. In the middle to the left side for Virgo, 7 wands yours, feeling deceit. The Emperor is over their structure. The Tower is over their transformation. Yes, because a Virgo woman is having transformation. Everything's changing. That's how it goes. Left, right, and center, right? That's how it goes. And when things are changing, that's the way it goes. Because that's what it seems to be. So let me clarify this 7 wands here for Virgo. Wheel of Fortune reversed, you're having bad luck. Exactly. The Virgo woman is having bad luck. There's no shame in that. There's no shame about, living the best of your whole entire life when you're having good luck, bad luck, whatever it is. But when you're having bad luck, Virgo, get to the point. Get to the point where you need to understand of, having the word blame, and you're blaming it. You're not blaming Scorpio and having freedom, and Scorpio wants to do this and all that. Okay, that's great. But if you're having bad luck, you're blaming it on yourself. Do you remember that, right? That's how it goes. You're not trying to use the blame game. You're not gonna call for that. You're not playing the blame card. You're not gonna have the blame card and put it on Scorpio and saying, ha ha, this is for you, buddy. Like, no. This is something serious, right? Then you have to stand that. You have to return to have respect. You have to have your own, the way how it goes, right? This is the way it seems to be. And when you do that, that's how it goes. It's like, this is the way of how it is in one way or another, and you have to stand that, right? This is the way it kind of happens, right? So, if Virgo woman has bad luck, and the Scorpio man has anxiety, those are two different, emotions right there. Having bad luck, having violence, saying bad language, whatever it is, putting the blame on that, and not going together. And then Scorpio's having, conclusions and having anxiety and whatever. That's what he's having, because he doesn't want the negativity. He doesn't want whatever's going to happen to him. So this is how it's going to be, right? This is how the way how this is, right? Because two elements do not make sense. They don't, they don't own each other. Like, they don't have the abilities to, connect with each other. Like, this is like a disconnection, right? It is, right? So that's how it seems to be. So I'm going to do the middle to the right, middle to the left. So let me see what the universe is saying. Ace of Cups here, there's no satisfaction. Queen of Cups here, there's no empathy. Hierophant is upright, there's guidance. Three of Pentacles here, there's no excitement. Hybrid here, there's no inner voice. Three of Wands is upright, there's communication. Exactly. Scorpio man wants communication. Just like a Virgo woman wants communication. If they both communicate, that's great. But if there's no communication whatsoever, what's the point, right? That's what it seems to be, right? That's how it goes. Between the middle and the left side. Ace of Swords, there's understanding. Six of Swords, there's no movement. Ten of Cups, there's incompletion. Eight Pentacles, there's perfection. Yes, everything's perfect for Virgo. Yeah, right. But everything's not perfect for a Virgo woman. That's how it goes. If things are not happening all at once, if you have an understanding, you know how it goes, you know how everything seems to be all great, but that's how it goes, right? That's how it seems to be. What's the middle of this situation? The Ten of Spirits, there's no healing. Yes, the Six of Pentacles here, there's no kindness, right? So both of them are like being rude to each other, being disrespectful. That's what it seems to be. So let me clarify this Six of Pentacles. So one on the left side. So Queen of Wands here, there's no charisma. Sense for yours, there's no deceit. Magician for yours, there's no skill. Okay, so the Page of Wands, that's an invention. So Virgo woman wants to be a inventor because she wants to invent what's going to happen next. Right, that's how it seems to be. What's between this Six of Pentacles reversed for Scorpio? Eight of Swords, there's anxiety. Yeah, because Scorpio's having anxiety, right? Because he's feeling sad, he's whimpering, he doesn't like this anymore, right? That's how it goes. What's the middle of this situation? Yeah, the Empress card. So that's represent nourishment, right? So Scorpio wants to be nourished, and Virgo wants to be nourished, but both of them are not, good against what's happening in this situation. It's like, oh well, woe is me, I can't do anything more, I quit, things are not happening, that's how it goes, right? So it's like, this is like a back and forth situation, right? And no matter what it is, that's how it goes. So let me read you this Enchanted Mapp, because it's been so long since you hear my voice reading about this whole entire reading, obviously. So let me see what's going on between a Virgo woman and a Scorpio man. Let's see. see. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's see. Alright, so this card, it says, number 32, Magic Prayer. Ooh, this is a good one too. Let's see. Let's see, number 32, right? Upright, alright. So this is what it says. Alright, here we go. Magic Prayer. Speak your prayers, listen for the answers, act in faith, it says. When you see the Magic Prayer card, it is a reminder that prayers will be answered. Spirit is always waiting to help you and to heal you when you're in need. That said, the best prayer is, Thy will be done through me. Thy will and not mine be done. Conscious contact with your higher power is achieved through the ritual of prayer and meditation. Speak and listen to the divine force within the field of creation. Surrender your wishes and desires to Spirit. You may not get what you want, but you will surely get what you need. Your destiny awaits you. As long as you keep in conscious contact with your higher power, be assured that you are on the right path. So it means that if you are being on the right path and you're trying to get what you want or you're trying to get what you need, that's how it goes, right? You're trying to understand that, and that's how it seems to be, right? So you have to believe in order to do that. You're trying to have your own details and you have to understand that, right? That's how it goes. But before I let you go, try to pay attention about this whole entire reading, and if it happens to you, you understand that, right? That's how it goes. If you're dealing with another Virgo as a woman and Scorpio as a man, that's how it goes. But this is what it seems to be. You have to believe in order to do that. You have to have your own source and you have to believe exactly what's happening. That's how it goes, right? So you have to believe in order to do that, in that whole entire, the way how it is. And you have to believe that because you have to understand that there is a very good possibility, right? And there's a good saying is nothing is possible to make it possible, right? That's what it seems to be. And when you do it, that's the way how it goes in that way, and that's how it goes, right? So you have to understand that if you're dealing with another Scorpio as a water sign or whoever you're dealing with as a zodiac sign, it is my pleasure to understand about the readings do make sense, right? And you have to understand that you have to get along in order to get along, right? That's how it goes. And if you don't get along, then what's the point, right? So you have to believe in order to do that. That's the way it seems to be. And you have to understand about having a long term and a short term of the way how it goes, right? That's the way it seems to be. And nowadays you have to understand of what you're going to be doing in that perspective because everything is going to be all good, right? This is not short and sweet. This is not the way it happens, but you have to stand that you have to understand, right? That's the way it seems to be. And when you do it, that's how it goes, right? So I hope you all like this video. Please understand this. Please give it a like. Please comment if you want. But this is the way it seems to be. So I hope you all like it. Please understand this, and I hope you all enjoy it. Please give a like. Please comment if you want, and I'll see you next time when I do. And that's how it goes. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and have a nice day. Thank you, and bye for now, really. Thank you, and bye.